Good evening from spooky Parsley Hill Spaniels. Thought we'd do a little evening walk through the woods, a spooky one, seeing as it's the Halloween season. Maybe tell you some tales of the Tower of London. What am I stood on? Leaves. I've got my head torch on so I can see where I'm going. So obviously the teddies, they can see. Oh yes, there we are. Are you coming, Cheesy? There's Cheesy Peasy. You being spooky? Go through the spooky woods. Yeah, I know. Hear all the rustlings. Oh wow, look at that moon. I mean, that is just, isn't it? That's amazing. Wonderful. Beautiful moon. Come on then, let's go. There we are. Tell you some spookiness with the rustling of the leaves. Oh, that moon is gorgeous. Look at that. Sorry. It's just a perfect moon for a night like tonight. Yes, said Gladys. Spooky. Come on then. So, some spooky tales of the Tower of London when we were there. Well, I suppose best to start at the beginning, really. Our first night. Well, actually, it was our second night in our flat in the old hospital block, which, as the name suggests, was the old hospital. It was built in 1649. Got bombed in the Second World War. Some submariners that were in there, German submariners that were in there, unfortunately perished in the bombing. And obviously people died before that as well. Medicine wasn't that fantastic, believe it or not, in the 17th century, or the 18th, and most of the 19th either. Anyway, the old hospital block faces one side of what everybody thinks of as the Tower of London, which is the White Tower. There's Cheesy over there. And one of the turrets at the top, you could see these orbs, I suppose is the best way, or best word I should say for calling them, floating around, almost like somebody was up there with torches or flashlights. And because we were new to the tower, we phoned through to security and said, we believe there's somebody up there, can they just check? Because this was, had to have been about 11 o'clock at night. And they said, okay, we'll check. And they came back and said, no, there's nobody up there. What you're seeing is what we normally see up there. It's just, don't worry about it. Happens every night. Nothing to worry about. I said, well, somebody left a light on up there. Perhaps that's it. And they said, well, no, because there's no electricity up there. So it couldn't have been a light that was left there. But you could see these orbs. Well, we questioned them and said, come on, what's going on? And they said, oh, that's Lady Maud. And you have to forgive me because I can't remember her correct name. But they used to call her Lady Maud because she was the desire of King John. That's right, Richard I's brother, King John, who was already married. Oh, I've just been caught by a bush. Anyway, there we are. She wouldn't accept his advances, so he locked her in that particular tower and said she could stay there until she succumbed to him. Beetle down there. Anyway, she didn't. And this went on for months and months. And in the end, he got pretty bored of her not succumbing to him. And she got pretty bored of his advances and having to tell him to go away all the time. So one day he decided he was having none of it, he was going to have her done away with. And it just so happened to be the day that she decided that she was going to do away with herself as well. Oh, and the reason why they called her Lady Maud, the people in security, was because that was actually the name of King John's wife, was Maud. I think this one, her real name was Isabel or something like that, Isabella. Anyway. So King John has decided to do away with her, and she has decided to do away with herself as well. He sends her, as part of her supper, a poisoned egg. She doesn't know this, of course. And she eats the poisoned egg. Waste not, want not. Look at those eyes. Look at that. There we are. Spooky. Oh. Cheesy up there somewhere. Anyway, she eats the poisoned egg and then jumps out the window. So she's definitely dead. And it's her that the orbs are, floating around, still haunting the place where she once was a prisoner. Now, if you ask any of the young warders or people that live there, have they seen a ghost, or are the ghosts, they'll all say, not seen a ghost, but there are some really weird things that happen. And there are some really weird things that can happen. What's the other thing that we've seen? Oh yes, told you about the 4 rubber balls. We used to have 4 really hard rubber balls. 1 red, 1 yellow, 1 blue, and 1 white with... Oh, somebody's got some fireworks going on. And 1 white with like red speckles going through it. And we used to take them down into the moat so that Stilton and Branston could play with them. We'd throw them to Stilton and Branston and they'd play with them. Well, every time we came back in, we put them on this one particular shelf. And every time we went to go and get them, there would always be 1 or 2 missing. And so we'd have to ask for the balls to come back. But we were never allowed to have all 4 balls at once. The only time we were allowed to have all 4 back was when we moved within the tower to the casemates. And then we were allowed our balls back. But we weren't up until then. Let's see what else has happened. Oh yes, our daughter's bedroom. That was... our daughter's bedroom faced onto the White Tower. She was at the front of the flat, we were at the back of the flat. And first couple of nights she'd be in bed, and the next morning she would come to me and say, "Mum, I'm old enough now, I don't need to be tucked in at night." She was 17 at the time. I'd say, "What on earth are you on about? I haven't tucked you in since you were tiny." She said, "Well, somebody keeps tucking me in. Is it Dad?" I'm like, no, it's not Dad. Dad doesn't come and tuck you in. Well, every night at 9:30, and then again at about 11:30, if she was sleeping on the right-hand side of her bed, her bedroom door would open, and somebody would tuck the duvet in underneath her. It wasn't me, and it wasn't her dad. So she took to sleeping on the left-hand side of her bed, and the right-hand side of her bed would be tucked in. But when her then boyfriend came to stay one night, she didn't tell him about the right-hand side of the bed. and he screamed like a little girl as he got tucked in. That was quite funny. Did you know that I've got a really, really sexy left knee? I used to sit up in bed and read a book, and the dogs would be on the bed or off the bed or whatever. And the first couple of nights, I didn't take much notice, to be honest, because obviously I'd go off to sleep and just think that the bed sheets had moved with the dogs moving off and on. I don't know what they've just found. They found something off and on the bed, because we always have the sheet and then we have the duvet on top of the sheet. I've seen something. What have you found? You've seen something. Anyway. So, didn't take much notice, to be honest, until I sat in bed one night and I felt a draft on my left knee. And I noticed that the sheet that had been over my left knee is no longer on my left knee. My left knee was bare. So I covered it up thinking the dogs had moved it. Carried on reading. Noticed that my knee was drafty again. Looked down. There it is, my knee was uncovered. I thought, oh, this is silly, dogs keep doing this. Then I realised the dogs weren't on the bed. No, they weren't on the bed. And Rob was awake, the major. He was reading. So I covered my knee up again, and this time I watched my knee. And lo and behold, I saw the sheet lift up and over my knee to expose it. Didn't feel scared, didn't feel in danger or anything like that at all. So I nudged the major and said, watch this, am I seeing things? And so, stop being birds, you, come on. So I nudged the major and said, can you watch this? In case I'm seeing things. Come on, guys, let's go. Come on, we're not eating, come on. We're not going to eat birdseed, come on, let's go. Yeah, come on. And so he watched with me, and we both watched the sheet lift up by an invisible hand and expose my left knee. And every time I covered my knee up, my knee would then become exposed again. Come on, you. Come on. And that happened every single night. Got so used to it. Happened every single night. Got used to it. In fact, even now I sleep with it. I got that used to it that I even now sleep with my left knee exposed. But yeah, I've got a damn sexy left knee that needs to be shown to everybody. Come on, Boogie Mama. Boogie, come on. Yeah. Well, that's our spooky night walk tonight. Do another one later in the week and tell you a few more stories of our time at the tower and some other things that happened to us, like things that happened in the Salt Tower on the night that our bedroom door got hammered in. Bearing in mind our bedroom door was at least 3 inches thick, So that took a hell of a whack to do that. So we'll do another one of these later on in the week. And I'll tell you some more spooky stories then. On a spooky walk through the spooky woods with the teddies, the spooky spaniels. But until then, take care everyone. Don't let the bed bugs bite, and happy sniffs.